Hello, my name is Doris, and I am Little Bird Products. Welcome back if you've been here before, and thank you for returning. And welcome if you're new here. Oh, and if you're new here, please subscribe. It means a lot to the channel. What I came on here today to do is give you my little midweek update. And I wanted to show you what I've been working on. This is another dungaree dress, and I have made a couple and put them in the shop. And I really love this one. I like this little material, this little flowered denim. And I'm making it with shirt sleeves. This took the shirt sleeves of 1, 2, 3 shirts, and I'm loving it. I just need to stitch it together. But as a part of doing this, I was working with my serger, and as most of you know, I serge all my seams and all of the raw edges. I do a little finished serge rolled hem on just about everything that I do. And I have two sergers. They're both Janome, let's see there, Janome 1200D. I think that stands for designer. No, it's 1100D. 12, 11, whatever. Anyway, I have one that I call the White Queen, and the other one is, sometimes she's the Black Queen. But anyway, I keep light thread in one, dark thread the other. Well, the White Queen, she started choking when I was doing this. Of course, I used a dark and light blue. And for some reason, I only used the one needle for that, the right needle, not the left. And I did my normal little cleanup maintenance on her because we all know that sergers are very dusty. And I cleaned her up. But every time I wanted to do my serge rolled hem, she would spit out the thread out of the needle. Heaven knows why she was doing that. I was at my wit's end. I looked at all kinds of YouTube videos and everything else and did everything I knew to do. So I decided, okay, I had to bite the bullet, take her in for maintenance. So my new, my place that I normally take my machines, I have two places. Well, the one actually moved a little closer to me. So I looked online to see if I could get her in and how long it would take to get the maintenance done. Well, they wanted $199 just to do a simple maintenance. And then if they had to add any parts, it would be above and beyond that. Well, my machines, my sergers, I bought used to begin with. And my heavens, they're old, years and years old. And so it's like, did those sergers even cost that? I mean, they are Janome, so they're nice sergers. And there's nothing wrong with the used machine. And I really depend on them a lot. So I think the last time I had maintenance done on them, it was at the same place, and it was the place where I bought them. They have since moved into new digs, and they're closer. Very, very nice place. So I checked to see if I needed an appointment just to bring them in. And no, they would talk to me about it if I brought them in. Well, as another aside, I have another place where I bought my single needle embroidery machine. I actually bought it from Joann's, but this sewing machine place, they're very nice. I'd taken that sewing machine in to have it maintenanced and repaired. It had a few things going on with it after several years of use. And they treated me really nice, but they are a little further to go, and I don't like to drive there by myself. Anyway, I'm making a short story really long for you because I'm very frustrated. So I looked online. Well, their maintenance on sergers was only $169. Now, I say only. I really didn't want to spend over $100 because I do all of the simple maintenance myself, but I did need to have her fixed because I use her all the time. However, I can put my light thread in my black thread machine, so I do have a serger that I can use in the meantime, and she's behaving well. So, $30. Do I drive further? Go to a different place that I bought them from for $30? Well, I decided I'm going to try to play the old lady card. So I take my serger in to the place where I bought her from, to their new digs. And by the way, they have a beautiful new shop. And it is closer to me. It's only about 15 minutes away. And if you live near Cypress, Texas, it's the Sewing Machine Factory Warehouse. They have a place in Conroe, and then they have a place here in Cypress on North Eldridge. So I go in there, and this very nice young man, his name is Roman, he talked to me, and I told him, my story, where I really didn't want to pay $199 for maintenance. Told him I was very frugal, thrifty, cheap, in other words. And then, of course, I took the opportunity to chew his ear about the new discount program that I wanted to start. It's called Silver and 70. So anybody who comes in and has white or silver hair and they're over 70, they get the best price available anywhere. Because I asked him why they were charging $199 when I could go this other place and it was $169 for maintenance. And he said, you could go there. He said, but you could wait 2 or 3 months. They're very slow. He says, where we try to keep it under 2 weeks here. He said, very seldom, unless we can't get a part, is it longer than 2 weeks. I said, okay. But I said, I bought these 2 Sergers from you guys, used, granted, and it's been several years. I said, can you give me a discount if I bring my other Serger in for maintenance? If I have a 2-for-1 kind of discount or anything like that. Well, he says, I don't think so, but I'll see. Well, he did come back, and they are going to match the other place. It was going to be $169 for maintenance. Okay, I can live with that. So, but now the story is going to get even longer. I did have a little time to yak at him, and he was a nice young man, very nice to work with me like that. I said, I've been thinking about getting a single stitch, more commercial sewing machine. I said, I see you'll sell Jukies. He said, oh, yes. He said, but if you were going to go for a single needle to get a faster stitch. And I said, well, I've broken 4 needles this week working on denim, and which I have, I did even use denim needles. And I did break 4 needles. Denim, sometimes it's pretty thick to sew through a couple of layers of denim, and these, home machines sometimes just don't like that. I'm tired of breaking needles. He said, I wouldn't recommend the Juki necessarily. He says, we have this new Janome. Boy, did I go down that rabbit hole. It looked like a retro machine. It was black. And I said, well, what kind of price range are we talking about? He says, it is a new machine, but it's our floor model. And he said, we might be able to give you a discount on the floor model. And of course, use those words, discount. My eyes lit up. I said, wow. I said, could you show me that? And then, can you tell me what kind of a discount are we talking about here? He said, they normally sell for $2,500. And of course, I didn't know anything about this Janome or really even the Juki. I just knew that they were expensive machines. So now, he must have seen me coming. We go over and we start looking at this Juki, and you should look them up. Oh, man. It's a nice machine. I'm going to put in the picture for this post. I'll put a picture of her because I did take some pictures, and I got the opportunity to sew this sucker. It sews 1,600 stitches per minute. That's faster than my embroidery machines go, and it was beautiful. It had great big foot pedal too, which I love. It also has a knee pedal apparently. It has a built-in bobbin winder that is kind of separate from the machine. So you can be winding your bobbins while you're sewing because it is separate, which is kind of nice. I don't know if that makes a difference, but it is nice. And it uses bigger bobbins so you can load it with a lot more thread, so you don't run out of thread as fast. Oh, and there's a different thread path that you can use. And if you want to use upholstery weight thread, you can actually thread it with upholstery weight thread. I mean, there's all kinds of fancy things. And, I would encourage you, if you're thinking about doing this, there's a channel called Blueprint DIY, and they actually do a review of this machine that I was looking at, the Janome, and also of one of the new Juki machines, where they're the first. The way I look at it is they're the first step up from a home machine to an industrial machine. They're not really I don't know if I think they may be coining the term professional machine for them. This particular one, this Janome, only does a straight stitch, but for a lot of things that you're doing with denim, you're only doing a straight stitch. You don't necessarily have to you don't have to have a zigzag stitch on this. There are some things you can do in terms of dropping the feed dogs and, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. But it does only do a straight stitch. And for most of this, like I said before, when you're working with denim, a straight stitch is fine. It does have a back stitch. It's got a few other things. I'm not sure if this is the exact machine for me, but he did go back and price the floor model, and he came back, and it was, I think, with tax and stuff, it was about $2,100, which I think is overpriced. I should be able to get it down, maybe not $1,500, but between $1,500 and $2,000. So we'll see if I'm successful. If I really want it, I will go back and negotiate more. But it's like, do I need it? No, I don't need it. Do I want it? Yes, I really, really want it. So my question for you is, what kind of a sewing machine do you use? Do you use one that's just a single needle, single stitch? Do you use one that's more computerized? I mean, I do have a Janome sewing machine. It has a few extra stitches. It's not super fancy. And then I have a Husqvarna Viking Topaz. It's my single needle embroidery machine, but it's also a sewing machine. I use it quite a lot. And again, I load my white or light colored thread in that one and my darker and darker colored thread in my Janome. And that's kind of how I work. And then I have another much older, but a computerized machine that I have given to a friend of my daughter's, and I'm teaching her how to sew aprons and make things like that. And so she leaves it here, but it is her machine because I've given it to her. And it's a nice little machine, but it's not nearly as nice to sew with, I don't think, as either one of my main machines that I use. But boy, I sure would like to have one to sew through some of this denim for me. And I don't really do bags much anymore, but when I was doing bags, it would have been nice to have a little heftier, faster machine. Now, do I need one that's that fast? I don't know. I'm pretty old and slow anyway, but I could sure do with a faster machine. I probably will run the needle through my finger or something if I had a machine like that. So I might, maybe for Mother's Day, do you think my daughter should get me that? Or maybe I tell her it's a combined gift for the whole year. We can consider it Mother's Day, birthday, and Christmas all together and have her help contribute to my fascination for that machine. Maybe I should just cool my jets a little bit and wait until I get the bill for what they need to do to my Serger. Oh, and by the way, he did say, with that new machine, if I bought it from him, guess what? The maintenance on it is only $129 when I bring it in. And if I bring it in every year for maintenance, there's a warranty on it, that the warranty holds true as long as I bring it in every year for maintenance, and it locks in at that rate. It'll always be $129 for maintenance. That seems like a pretty good deal. Then again, I am 77. How many more years am I going to be sewing and doing this? Well, let's see. Let's say 10 years. That'd make me 87. So if I say 10 years and I take, let's see, I can get it down to $2,000. And it'd be $129 a year for maintenance, right? So 129, and that's about $1,200, $1,300 if you spread it over 10 years. So there's $1,300 on top of the 2,000 times 10, blah, blah, blah. So that might be about, spread out to be $200 to $400. And so would the things that I make with that new fancy machine, heavy duty machine, would that be worth maybe $300 a year? Let's just say that's what it would be costing me. $300 a year. Would that be worth it? That a good investment in my business? Good investment in my happiness? Make me happy? Well, if I cut out all my Starbucks drinks, the dragon fruit drink, I think it's just because dragon fruit drink from Starbucks, I'm kind of getting addicted to with the coconut milk in it. If I stop getting those that would probably make a big dent, that money, make a big dent in that $2,100, $210, I should say, in the $210 that I'd be spending over the next 10 years, $210 a year. Oh, forgive my math, but is it worth it? What machines do you use? Would you be tempted? And if you have been tempted and you do have one of these near commercial machines, which would you go for? The Juki or this new Janome? Oh, and there's a baby lock too. And my girls, my embroidery machines, my sick needles are baby locks, and they're still running. And oh my gosh, they're probably almost as old as my daughter. Oh no, my daughter's turning 60 this year. They're not that old. But anyway, how would you feel about that? And am I getting a good discount? At $2,000, $2,100, I think, with tax and stuff. Oh, he says, and we have a loan program. Basically, I can be paying them interest too. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I do have the cash, my little stash of cash that I use to fund my craft shows every year. And I've paid for almost all my craft shows, and I still have that little stash left. So do I keep that for a Serger, a sewing machine emergency? Or do I fund this? Or do I go back and, play with that Silver with 70 program, with the owners of this sewing machine factory warehouse? They're really nice people, and they have a really nice place there. And the other place that I was going to go to, they're very nice, and I've worked with them before too. And I don't know, these sewing machine places. Oh, and the sewing machine factory warehouse does sell fabric too, and notions. So if you're looking for some quilting fabric, they have a lot of that there too. And I like the one on North Eldridge here in Cypress. It's really a nice place. So maybe I can talk them into, maybe if I do they do have classes on some things. And so maybe I could fund this machine by coming in doing a class a month, maybe teaching there a little bit. What are your thoughts? Help me out here. Tell me, to cool my jets, I don't need another machine, or Doris, go for it. You have some bargaining, negotiating ideas that I can do to get that little machine? Anyway, thanks for listening to me yatter. I need to get back to my sewing, get my dungaree dress done. I have some little finishings to do on a sweet shirt that I think I showed you a sneak peek of in my last video. I want to get that finished this week and make another one of those, because I have some pieces, parts of shirts that I put together. And I have another idea for an upcycled men's shirt, a short shirt. I want to get one of those done with some ruffles. I've seen some ruffles around the collar, and I do want to put sleeves on it because I like sleeves on my shirts. So I have a couple of ideas like that. And did I say I wanted to make a hat? Yeah, I have my material for a hat I want to make here. So we shall see where the rest of the week goes. Thanks for letting me yatter. And please let me know how you feel about the machines. Convince me to do it or convince me to not. Thank you. I'll see you later. Bye.